Hello, and welcome back to the Not Another AI Girl podcast, episode 2. Woo! I put a call out yesterday on my Instagram stories asking people if I was to start a podcast, what would you want me to talk about? And I had some really, really nice responses and some really good ideas too. So I think do that as an episode today. So let's just get straight into this. And I'm going to get up my stories. I think it has expired. Yeah. All right. So I am going to get into my archives right now. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, I have some nice pimples going on. I now call these ascension pimples from my lovely business advisor, Peter. She named them that last time I had a breakout, which PS, I never had breakouts really. I'm like wondering if I am starting perimenopause. So that's fun. Meanwhile, I still haven't got these stories up. Okay, here we are. So Mariana from Pink Ocean VS, who is one of my favorite humans on the internet, we met I don't know, I guess it was last year sometime, and she is just the best. She's such an awesome supporter of my business, and I feel really lucky to have her as a friend. And yeah, so she has put, I want to hear about you leaving corporate and starting a business. So let's start with that one. So yeah, I guess I'll rewind it to kind of uni days first and then take you on the journey that is my career up until this point. So I grew up in a small country town called Mudgee in Western New South Wales. Went to school there and then had a gap year and just like kicked around town working at one of the local pubs and just being like an 18-year-old. And then I moved. My sisters were living in Sydney and I was like, I don't want to live in Sydney, but I got into Sydney Uni to do occupational therapy. So I was like, I'm going to move with my boyfriend at the time to Wollongong and I'll just travel up. Lol, cats. When you have ADHD and autistic, shit like that is very, very hard to do. Very quickly, I was like, oh, this is really hard. I hate traveling up on the train. I transferred down to Wollongong Uni and changed my degree to arts. So I studied sociology and history. And oh my God, uni, it was fun, but it was such a struggle, like adult self-directed learning. And that was actually the first time that I had an inkling that I might have ADHD. Like I just found it really hard, but no like grown woman was getting diagnosed that I knew of at that time. I did like purchase a book, which I still think I've got, about ADHD. I think it was called Delivered from Distraction. And just kind of that gathered dust. And yeah, after I finished uni, I just kicked around Wollongong for ages. That's where I met my now husband. I've done like heaps of random stuff. So I did hospo all through uni, and then I went into like project admin work. I worked for like mining companies, so random. And I moved into more kind of like outage administration, so like very specific project management roles for like an energy company. And after I had my daughter, I also worked, one of my worst jobs ever was I worked for IAG, which is Insurance Australia Group. So that is at RMA, all of those brands, in the call center processing claims. That was horrific. For anyone who is a people pleaser and hates conflict, my God, you only get calls from people whose claims are like not progressing, or, they think that they're not at fault and they are in fact the person who caused the accident. So they will have to pay their insurance, or you get calls from people who are not properly insured. I did not go very well there. My personality is not made for that. So, and after I had my daughter, my husband was working at the Uni of Wollongong, and he just flicked me this casual role coming up in strategic planning. I just reached out to the director and ended up working there for like 4 years. And that director, Maureen, became like the biggest mentor for me. So she was probably one of the first people who really saw my potential, and she was always like pushing me to do stuff outside my comfort zone. And she would she would like basically create secondment roles within our team so that I could like work on a project for her, just get me like pushing the boundaries of like my kind of self-imposed limits, I guess. Then after that, so in COVID, I had Darcy, my son, in 2019, and then was returning to work in Bed, which was really tricky. We were all working remotely, and then my director got sick and retired, and I was like, I actually don't really like working here anymore. I really liked working for my director, but once she was gone, I was like, I just can't do this. So then I pivoted into mental health support. I was doing the running retreats on the side at this point, so the women's running retreats. I got into mental health support as like a peer support worker. So that's where, you know, you have your lived experience of mental health. I don't want to say issues, but yes, I cannot think of the word that is much nicer than issues right now. So I pivoted into mental health support. That was like really was not a great workplace, and it really wasn't suited. It was not a flexible workplace. And when you've got 2 kids, like you need to be able to just like leave early. Or my daughter started like kindy, and I wanted to be there for a lot of that, and they just couldn't support that. So then after that, I got into local government. So kind of very similar to universities in the way that they are structured and, you know, reporting and things like that. So throughout all of this, I guess a really common thread is that I would burn out. So I didn't realize at the time that it was burnout. So when I was 35, I went to my psych and was like, you know, I think I'm doing really well. I don't feel like anxious or I don't feel depressed, but I'm really struggling with life and like having 2 kids and the admin of everything, and I feel overwhelmed. I kind of told her, like, I've always thought that I have had ADHD, and now because it is so prevalent online, people talking about their experiences, and I resonate so much with this, I really want to explore diagnosis. And she was really supportive of that. And her and my GP were like, yeah, like 100% your mental health has improved. I struggled a lot after like having Tilly. I had like diagnosed postnatal depression for like 2 years. So like really, it took a long time to like do the work with that. I thought I was doing the work, and then it would like creep back up. I really, really committed to like sustained therapy for a long time and was like, I actually feel really good, but I'm still struggling. And so went and got diagnosed, and then, yeah, like literally a few weeks later, I got my autism diagnosis too. So I guess the point of all of that was the common thread is I would burn out. So I would get sick, like I would pick up maybe a cold or flu, and then that was almost like my permission slip to just like self-implode. So I would be sick for maybe a week, like physically sick, and then I would like almost have this depressive episode. That's like the best way I can describe it. Like I would just really struggle to get out of bed. I would not want to do anything. Like I would just want to sloth on the couch. And then I would feel really guilty for that as well. Like, what is wrong with me? And I remember my GP just being like, I think you were having like autistic burnout. Like you just need that time because you are masking constantly. Like I was working, 9 to 5, and yeah, she's like, that makes sense to me. Then when she explained it like that, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense to me too. I then, like, end of 2023, we jumped in our caravan, went traveling, and yeah, my husband was still working remotely, and then we ended up in Bustleton like a year ago to like almost to the day. And Yeah, so on the road I was working because I didn't want to go back to my role, and I had learnt so much. I have always had side hustles, and so with the running retreats I had built everything from the ground up, like the booking system, all of this stuff. And I was like, actually, like this is the part that I really enjoy. That was like creating for me, like websites and just like all of it, running your own business. And so then I was like, I want to actually do this stuff. So I kind of started off doing like VA support, and then pivoted about this time last year, actually. And so I was using AI, but I knew that I could use it better. So I signed up for Nikki Sweeney's. I don't even know what she called it. It was like a VIP day for AI. And then after that, I was like, I'm just going to go all in on this. Like, I know that I'm good at this and I know that my brain loves this stuff. And yeah, so since then, I have not had one of those like shutdowns. I don't want to jinx myself because we're going on holidays in 2 days. I actually haven't been sick. I think I've had like one tiny cold. I've stopped drinking too, which has helped a lot. I've had like maybe 4 drinks in a year. Oh my God, it's the 24th of September. This like 12 months today. Oh my God, that is amazing. Oh, that makes me so happy. That was really, really hard for me to do. I love to drink. I wouldn't say I had like a problem, but like any time that alcohol was offered, I would be your girl to be like, fuck yeah, let's have a wine or a gin. And like I love all like most types of alcohol. I don't really love whiskey, but like I like food. I'm just like I love it. I love the flavors. So yeah. So since then, oh my God, I got sidetracked with that. I haven't had like that kind of autistic burnout / shutdown, because what building my own business has allowed me to do is work when my energy levels are good. I can be present for the kids. They are outside at the moment as I'm recording this, playing around. And I do struggle with that guilt, like, oh, should I be like out there with them? But I'm here and I'm around. We can go to their assemblies or any sport things. Like I can be really present for that stuff. And I don't have to answer to anyone. Like, you know, I'm popping out, I'll be back, I'll make up my hours. Like, ugh, I used to fucking hate that. And so, yeah, building a business like this has allowed me, like some days I wake up and like anyone who has like ADHD would know this feeling. You just wake up and your brain is just like, no. It's so hard to describe. The best language I now have around this is like, this is a low dopamine day. But like you will wake up and like your brain is just like, nope, like I am not here. Do not ask me to do the thing. And for me, showing up at work and having to do the thing within, you know, that 9 to 5 period was so hard. And like for some days I would be like, come on, like I've got to get this stuff. And I would eventually get it done throughout the day. But it was so exhausting. And I don't have to do that anymore. Like I do still do a little bit of client work or, you know, work within my own business. But if my brain is like that when I wake up, I can like go move my body, or I can like just sloth around and be like, this is okay. Like I'm just having a low dopamine day. And then, you know, if I come good in the afternoon, amazing. I can like get work done then. Or like it's just a day. And rather than it being like exhausting, having to like get dressed for the office, front up, talk to people, like I just don't have to do that anymore. And that has changed so much for me. And I am so grateful for that type of freedom. So yeah, I guess this episode is just a little deep dive into my story, I guess. So yeah, I hope that anyone who's listening to this can just maybe be inspired by that. Like I definitely haven't had a traditional path to any of this, but that doesn't mean you can't do it. and you just need to like believe in yourself. I know that sounds so cliche, but like back yourself to, if you know that you are good at something and you are good at this thing, or you have a business idea, like go all in on it. I don't mean like quit your job, go all in, like just make it work. So yeah, for a lot of us who do have families, like you can't just quit your job. That would be nice, but we've got like responsibilities and mortgages. So just backing yourself could mean like showing up more on social media, talking about the thing that you're going to do or launch, and then actually doing it. So my words, as I mentioned in the last episode this year, were take action. And that has just set the tone for this year. Instead of overthinking things, I am just taking action on the stuff that I want to or that I believe in. And that has like helped me grow so much as a person and as an entrepreneur. So with that, AI helps me so much with that. So how I use AI, like if you have a brain like mine, often you will get into these thought loops where you might have an idea and maybe that idea comes up when you're down at the beach with your kids and like you cannot stop thinking about it. It's like you're hyper focusing, right? But it's all just in your head. So AI now, how I use that when my brain's going like that is I will just like voice note that idea into chat. Maybe it's like, oh, I want to write an email to my list. Say. I can like voice note that into my custom GPT and be like, blah, 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 blah. Here's the idea for this email. And then it can action it for me. So, and then what that does, what that allows me to do is one, take action on that idea. And two, then I can put it to bed. It's almost like if anyone has ever struggled to sleep, and you know how they say like write out your list or what's on your mind and then you can often fall asleep. It's kind of like that. It allows you to like hand that off, and now we have the ability to like hand that off to an AI staff assistant, and then they can take action, and then you can be like, sweet, that's going to get, that email's going to get sent out, or I haven't lost that idea. And then, you know, you can pick that up. Like I have an automation that once I'm happy with a piece of content, it gets sent to my Notion dashboard, tags my VA, and she goes and schedules that for me. So that's like, I guess, the next step in that process. But yeah, that AI in that sense has like really, really helped too. So I hope that you have found something to take away from this episode. And I guess you all know a little bit more about me now. And shout out to Mariana for that awesome topic. And so let's wrap this up with the AI confession booth. So again, I haven't published any of these yet. So the content we're drawing on is from me. So what's like a random unhinged way that I have used AI recently? Oh God, I am drawing a blank. I used, if anyone hasn't used Google's Nano Banana yet, like you need to get on that. Google's AI now. So I hadn't even opened it until about 4 months ago because I was like, it's like I've heard how shit it is, but oh man, they have just been quietly working in the background getting this shit good. So two of my favorite tools from Google are Notebook LM, which I'm going to do a full episode on, and Google like their image gen, which is called Nano Banana, and also VO3. So that's their like little short videos. So yeah, I just like dropped in some ideas for the podcast, like the little tile, and I was like, can you make this like Saved by the Bell theme? So the podcast tile at the moment is like this picture of me with like very Saved by the Bell kind of icons, and I will see. I don't know if I'll keep it like that, but for now I am really enjoying that. Yeah, so when you hear this, when this is out, please slide into my DMs and yeah, tell me like just like the random ways that you're using AI or something funny that has happened, and I'll read it out in the AI confession booth. And I will catch you next time.